Welcome back to another episode of Espresso Chat. I'm Cayci Chesnut, joined once again by Massimo Crudeli. Today, we're discussing a topic that's become increasingly important in life sciences: how private equity firms and investment groups manage technology when they acquire multiple pharma or biotech companies. Many of these firms grow through acquisitions, but every new company often comes with its own systems, processes, and compliance challenges. So the question becomes, how can organizations scale operations quickly while keeping systems standardized, compliant, and efficient? That's where the idea of repeatable, template-driven implementation model, sometimes called a project in a box, becomes extremely powerful. Massimo, I'm excited to get your take on this.
Of course, hey, Cayci.
So private equity firms often acquire several companies in the same sector. What are the biggest operational and IT challenges that come with integrating these businesses?
We have been working with some private equity company in life sciences. And I would say the biggest challenge is that most acquired life sciences companies, they run on completely different, sometimes outdated systems, different ERP, different QMS, different platforms, different lab systems, maybe a lot of spreadsheets. And then from day one, after the acquisition, PE firms, they need to consolidate reporting. They want standardized processes, they want reliable financial, they want to make sure that eliminate, all these inconsistencies, but the data, the underlying data is fragmented across a lot of silos. So I think the PE firms, they face immediately three major issues. One is inconsistent operational processes. Each company in their portfolio, they might operate in a different way, procurement, production, quality control, workflows and such. Nothing of them really aligns. Okay, they have no unified data structure. Master data, item numbering, suppliers is all different, all incompatible. Okay, it's very difficult to consolidate all these kind of processes. And then you have compliance risks. In one of our previous Espresso Chat, we talked about FDA warning letters, regulatory exposure. Okay, so unvalidated systems, uncontrolled spreadsheets, data that is not trustworthy, not compliant, not integral. Those are compliance risks. Sometimes are hidden, sometimes are in plain sight. You have missing audit trails, gaps in GXP documentations, and from a PE standpoint, those are money pitfalls. They take time and money to fix, to uncover first and fix, and then can slow down any integration plan. Okay, so the real challenge for the PE firms is not technology per se, is the lack of a repeatable IT and compliance foundational platform that can be applied consistently across the portfolio. If they can find that kind of a repeatable model, that they can transform it in a money machine.
I get that. A lot of traditional ERP projects can take 12, 24 months. Why does that model not work well for private equity or acquisition-driven growth?
I think it's the nature of the beast. A standard classic 12, 24-month ERP project might make sense if you are a single, stable business planning for the next 10 years. Okay, but it doesn't work for the private equity business model. The timelines are fundamentally different. PE firms, they want speed. Their system must live inside a 5, max 7 years investment horizon. That's it. It must be repeatable. Okay, same playbook, different company every single time across multiple acquisitions. It must be predictable. Cost and timeline cannot drift every single time. It must be very repeatable, very predictable, and give extremely rapid visibility, consolidated reporting, operational control in months, not in years. Okay, so traditional ERP project typically fail in this kind of a PE environment because they start from scratch every single time. You have endless workshops for analysis and then process design from really ground up, long validation cycle. What we are proposing as a stadium to this kind of a PE company is a completely different approach. Is a life sciences ready ERP that would allow PE firms to deploy a system that can be validated easily, implemented easily, is standardized, is based on standardized template and processes, and can be put in place in a fraction of time. So we don't design the system, the ERP system for every company, but we'll replicate the same blueprint, the same project in a box, if you will, over and over and over again. And we adapt, of course, yes, in some cases, only where is absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm. I love it. When we talk about these standardized templates, validated processes, implementation toolkits, what does that really look like in practice?
It means that you are not reinventing the wheel every single time you implement a new ERP system. For example, for a new acquisition, you start from a pre-built GXP ready operating model. Okay, so for example, we as a company, we have our own life sciences ERP system. Is a template specifically designed for life sciences company, can be validated easily. Is based on standardized processes. They can translate it to SOPs easily. It's based on a standardized master data structure, item categories, batch definitions, workflows, and such. We have pre-configured, predetermined GXP processes for production record, for batch release, for GXP procurement. And we also provide a complete validation package, from user requirements to validation protocol, ready on day one and totally aligned, totally in sync with the implementation. Okay, we also have data integration component to connect separate systems that might stay in the organization. Okay, and also we have a standardized, repeatable deployment playbook. So each project will follow exactly the same steps. So we don't spend months of designing a workshop, months of field gap analysis. We focus only on the exceptions. Mm-hmm. Everything else is already ready, built in, validated, and kind of approved. So they can put this ERP place in very low time and in a repeatable and consistent way.
How does this accelerate ROI? And what are the biggest advantages when companies can replicate the same system framework across multiple acquisitions?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I mean, ROI is always an interesting parameter. I would say that the ROI in this case accelerates because of the integration cost, effort, and timeline. Number one, they drop dramatically when you're implementing a pre-configured, predetermined, standardized solution, because you're eliminating variability. Okay, so you have, at the end of the day, a faster operational stabilization. You acquire a company, you can get onto standardized finance, supply chain, procurement, manufacturing within months, not years. Number two, you have a lower compliance risk. Okay, you're using the same validated template across your portfolio. You are reducing by design, possible potential surprises and risks from FDA or EMA inspections. You have shared services that might become viable. Okay, once the process is harmonized, the company can maybe consolidate procurement or planning or quality operation or IT support, if this is in the mind of the PE firm. Overall, you have, number four, you have real trustworthy data, and AI becomes automatically possible. in one of our previous chats and webinars, we say you cannot build AI on chaos. You want consistent data. So we can give this pharmaceutical company clean, standardized data across their processes and to the PE firm across their portfolio. So they can measure, for example, KPIs and forecasting across the entire portfolio. And also from a PE standpoint, you have a stronger exit multiples, right? So at the end of the day, buyers will pay a premium for company with an established, consistent, compliant, modern platform in place. So this is a good return on investment for the PE firm. So repeatability equals speed, lower risks, and higher valuation of the company when it's back on the market.
Great. Are there specific life science sectors like CDMOs or specialty pharma companies where this repeatable model creates the most value?
I've seen this model apply to different segments. Probably on top of my head, I would say CDMOs. CDMO is in generally growing through acquisitions. They need to onboard a new facility very, very quickly. Standardization of batch records, scheduling, procurement, QA approval is definitely massive value driver. Specialty pharma as well. They may have complex supply chains, but very lean IT teams. So in that case, a pre-built, easy to validate, implement ERP system eliminates the need for very large internal project teams. Same as for emerging biotechs, okay, which is very common. PE firms, they acquired multiple or maybe a early stage company. Okay, at the point, having a consistent GXP control in place and ERP that can enforce them is very, very beneficial. Same as some medical device manufacturer, same story. And something that really kind of exploding in the past, say maybe 5 years, nutraceutical and advanced supplements. Yes, they're kind of growing pretty much everywhere. And again, they can benefit from a rapid implementation ERP system for sure.
I love it. Before we wrap up, I have one more question. For private equity firms or investors watching us, what's the biggest mindset shift they should make when thinking about technology and integration across their portfolio companies?
I guess we can go back to the first question, right? I think technology, this kind of PE firm, they should see and consider technology not as a one-time implementation, which is different every single time, more as a repeatable investment multiplier. Okay, so there are ways, there are tools, there are packages like the one from Stadia that can make this process, the IT digitalization, repeatable with a very controlled timeline, a very controlled cost. Okay, so from a PE standpoint, every acquisition should not require new ERP strategies. Okay, new processes, new validation, new integration, and such. But they should think about in terms of one template, one system template, one data model, one validation package, one playbook. They can deploy over and over and over again. So they should focus on buying and selling companies, not on ERP project. We can provide, the ERP services. We can provide ERP, the technology support. They should focus on what they do best, which is buying and selling. So if they adopt this kind of a mindset where technology is not a cost center, but more a kind of a value portfolio, value creation engine, that will benefit them. And this is exactly where we as a Stadion, we can help.
Great. Massimo, again, thank you for sharing your insights and helping us explore how life science organizations, especially those backed by private equity, can scale faster with more repeatable, efficient technology implementations.
Of course.
And thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of Espresso Chat. If you're interested in learning more about how standardized ERP solutions can help streamline integrations and accelerate ROI, you'll find links below to explore our solutions and connect with us. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.